1, 2, 3. Marker. All right, Unfiltered Waters family. Welcome back. I cannot believe I'm about to say this. Katie and I leave for Paris tomorrow.
When it comes to my jewelry, I need two things. I need style and I need convenience. OXB sweatproof jewelry has done just that for me. I am obsessed because I can swim, I can sweat, I can shower, I can sweat, I can shower, and I don't have to take the pieces off because if I take the pieces off, then I lose them. We are so proud to partner with OXB because they are female founded, they're based out of Denver, Colorado, and they are all about quality over quantity. I can't tell you how many times I've had jewelry on and it's tarnished or it's been damaged, and I have had OXB pieces for multiple years now and been able to wear them nonstop. So we've got a special code for you. It is Unfiltered Waters for 15% off. Go shopping, treat yourself, and look stylish.
You guys have heard us talk about dream recovery 100 times, and guess what? You're going to hear it 100 more. We cannot get enough of all the amazing things that dream recovery has to offer. As you guys know, Katie and I have so much travel coming up this summer, and I feel like one of the things we haven't touched on is how important it is to maintain the best sleep you can when you travel, and dream recovery has everything you need in order to do that. I have started taking both my sleep mask and my mouth strips on the plane with me. I don't care if people look at me and think I'm crazy. I will use both of those things. I will get naps on the plane. I will sleep on them if they're an overnight flight, and then using them in the hotel is a total game changer. So make sure you're taking care of your sleep, not just at home, but also on the road, and doing it with everything from Dream Recovery. You guys can use code UNFILTERED to get 30% off your order and 50% off your first month subscription of Dream Tape. Sweet dreams. Actually got an amazing response from our Olympic trials episode, which meant so much to us, but we got such amazing feedback that of course we thought we would do a pre-Olympics video as well. So very similar to our pre-trials episode, we're going to talk about what Katie and I are going to be doing in Paris this time. This is the first Olympics that Katie and I have been to that we are not competing in. So there's so many things that we're looking forward to, so many different emotions that it's going to hold for us. But we'll talk a lot about Paris, what we're excited about, what we're going to be doing, where you guys can find us while we're over there. If I don't even know if we know that.
It's like, where's Waldo over there?
And then we're going to talk a little bit about our Olympic experiences and then just some hot takes. You guys loved that as well. So we'll talk about maybe some things that, you know, go around the Olympics, stuff about the village, things like that maybe not everyone knows about, that Katie and I can kind of share a little insider scoop and knowledge about. But we're so excited. We're in our crisscross applesauce. We're comfy. We've had a great day. We're relaxed. We're getting dinner after this.
Can't wait.
You guys just get to join in on our bestie quality time.
No wine this time. I'm a little disappointed by that, but I'll get over it.
She's not encouraging me to drink alcohol on this episode. But
yeah. There's still time.
There will be another.
Oh my gosh. Well, yeah, first of all, your hair looks amazing right now.
Really?
Yeah. I was just like, I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to say it just looks really good and straight and like color and everything. So I just wanted to call that out now.
I haven't washed it in 4 days.
Well,
no, really
dirty hair is the nicest hair.
I wash my hair once a week.
That's skill.
It's made it so much healthier. I swear to you. Yeah. I know, but don't you wash yours like every day?
I set an intention and I do it
every other day.
It's 3 times a week.
Oh no, okay.
Yeah.
All right. I thought you did it more than that.
I know.
Okay.
So if you guys came for Paris, we're actually just going to talk about hair. Off topic.
Missy and Katie's hair tips 101.
Perfect. But I love the way that we talked about things for trials, and I think I'm excited to talk about the highs and the lows, but I want to start with what the heck you're doing, what I'm doing. We have some overlap, but what are the things that you have cemented down that you are definitely doing in Paris?
Yes. So I think one of the misconceptions about the Olympics is that it's incredibly well organized.
Yeah, it's not Yeah, like when you're competing, you're like, oh my gosh, like they have everything so organized, they have it down, they
for
know
the
all
athletes,
the things.
the schedule, it's amazing. And
Yeah.
I genuinely believe Paris is going to be an incredible experience.
sure.
Like I think they are going to be a phenomenal Olympic host. If you were like outside the athlete space, like especially when it comes to media events, like it just gets so convoluted because there's so much that has to be approved that like you don't know when and where you can do this, if you can shoot this, if you, so there's like so many guidelines and hoops that all these different companies have to jump through that a lot of times it has literally been within the last 2 weeks that people are like, okay, we need you here, 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 and here. We're still not sure what it's going to look like.
TBD. There's
like,
a lot of TBDs.
This might change too, but like just for now. But I honestly, Katie, I'm so excited and I'm so humbled. I have incredible opportunities in Paris while I'm out there. And I want to preface all that with saying, getting vulnerable for a second, I think one of the things that I have struggled the most with since my career ending, and I don't say this to sound self-deprecating, but this is like truly, in my opinion, how it is. The further away from your career you get, the less relevant you become.
Yep.
And so I think for us, for athletes that are still trying to be in that space, it becomes almost more and more pressure the further you get away from your career to continue working, to continue to try to find work. Because for me personally, I live with this fear that like one day I'm going to wake up and no one's going to want me anymore. And I'm like never going to get a work opportunity again. So that's something like I'm currently working through and have been working through of like, you know, I'm doing everything that I can. I'm so fortunate to be able to still have opportunities to do things that I love that also support my family. But so I think I'm a little bit still struggling with that mindset of like, I don't say no essentially to anything because I'm just like, I'm so grateful for the opportunity. And I love to work hard. So like, I really enjoy it too. And these are amazing things that I get to do, but I am starting to learn now, having been retired for 6 years and still getting wonderful opportunities. Like if you would have told me, even 2 years ago that I would be getting the work that I'm getting this year and heading into Paris and I'm getting to do the things I'm going to get to do there, I would have never believed you. So I'm proud of myself for being able to get to do these things, for putting myself in a position where I have these opportunities. I'm proud of my team. I have an amazing team. My agents are incredible. I know they work really hard on my behalf as well, but I'm very excited. And so that's why I always start with like, I'm just so honored for these opportunities because I really am. Yeah. Like when I get to do stuff around the Olympics, when I get to do stuff around swimming, like it's an honor that I am someone they pick to do these things. So you and I are both going to be working out of the Team USA house, which is super exciting. So that's really who we're there with. We're there with the United States Olympic and Paralympic Committee. So we're hosting a couple of events at the Team USA house, which will be really fun. And we'll go into the houses and what that looks like on the ground in Paris a little bit more too as well. I'm going to be doing stuff with the USOPC Foundation, which will be really fun. So I get to do a couple events with them while I'm out there. I'm speaking on multiple panels while we're there. I have a production day while I'm there. You and I are walking in a fashion show. Oh my God, don't get me started. I believe there's going to be some USA Swimming watch parties that we're going to get to go to and attend. There's a couple other dinners with different sponsors, different companies that I've been invited to. There's some media summits. Like it's crazy. So I am taking Hayes and Caitlin. I know. So we're all going together, which Paris I felt like was a great trial run. Yeah, literally it was a trial run. And I was just so blown away by Caitlin. We took her, we put her in a house she'd never been in. Yep. You know, we had different childcare that she knew and she loved, but still like she was so adaptable. Yeah. She was so calm. Like I was blown away and so impressed with her and how she handled that whole week. So obviously Paris will be a little different. The time change and just all the other complications that come with being international. But we've got an Airbnb And we are bringing a sitter who is like family to us. And so I think that's going to be so wonderful having her there and having her help. And she's also really excited, which makes me excited that like, awesome. Hopefully we get to, really give her something out of this opportunity as well. Cause she's a swimmer too.
That's so fun.
I know. So I'm really excited that Hayes and Caitlin get to be a part of this, that we're going to get to share in that together. So just like trials, it'll be a lot to manage the chaos. All of that on top of jet lag, on top of a jet lag toddler, on top, just like all the different pieces. But yeah, like we talked about before, I've gotten so much more faith in myself as a person and as a parent over the last 3 years that I genuinely believe that, Hayes and I are the best team in the world, and we're going to give Kate the best experience we can. We're going to be there for each other every step of the way and support each other however we can. And we're going to make the absolute best out of it. Yeah. So I'm so excited.
So excited. I mean, what almost 3-year-old is in Paris for the Olympics? So
we
such
get
a cool
back,
memory.
Like, right before her birthday too.
I know.
So I think it's just going to be so fun to get to be able to have that and then come back and celebrate our little 3-year-old.
Yeah. So fun. I may or may not be there. I'm sorry.
I know. I know.
I RSVP'd,
which is completely fine. I mean, I don't know how you're going to miss 4 hours of trolls and rainbow glitter sparkles, but I'll take lots of pictures.
No, I would love to be there, but I will be in Paris. I think
because you are staying longer than I am. So let's go to your Paris schedule.
Yes. So similar overlap on some things, and I'll say this is going to be like a little plug for both me and you, but I think something I've learned being away. I mean, as we've talked about, I was away for 5 years. My last Olympics was 2008. So in terms of like relevancy and coming back, but the thing I've learned after stepping away is that it is a two-way street, right? It is a two-way street with your organization, with sponsors, with relationships. And so I think that's something that we both have done a great job of as of late is just, it's a relationship, meaning you have to provide and then they will want to provide you. And I think that's something that has been met with open arms this year, and especially with the podcast and reaching out and being able to have this insane press box at trials and being able to go, that's really how we got connected to go to Paris with an opportunity. So,
and I didn't even mention Yahoo.
Yeah. With Yahoo Sports. Yeah. And so they, have been incredible for us at trials, and then we'll be doing some work with them at the Olympics. But I just think that that's something that really fills my heart and my cup is just, sometimes you do put it out there and you don't get it back, and you just have to keep putting it out there and just keep hoping and having trust. And I feel like the second I put it out there and you put it out there, you've been putting it out there, but as I've started to put it out there more, I've just been
keep saying putting it out there.
Put it out there. Put it out there. Dang it. So as I've been putting it out there, I have been met with open arms. If people are drinking wine, that would be 8 sips. But yeah, I think that piece, first and foremost, I have to just say that is just recognizing that and having such gratitude for that. And I never in a million years thought I would be at an Olympic Games, not in a swimming capacity and competing, but just there and doing such fun work with such amazing organizations. And something I'm passionate about is just being able to speak about the athletes and give the athletes this space that they want to, especially at the Olympic Games when the media and the pressure is cranked all the way up. Yeah. It's cranked all the way up. Yeah. And so, so I'm working with Yahoo Sports, doing stuff with the USOPC. And actually, something that's really unique this year that they're doing for the first time is they're bringing creators. Yeah. So creators from Meta, from TikTok, from Instagram, like all the things. And so you know me, I love social media. I love TikTok. Alex Cooper is there, who is the biggest female podcaster in the world. So I've put in some requests.
And by put in request, she meant there's an email, a very specific, not even like who she wants to collab with, but how and when, like exactly the ways that she wants to collab with them, which Like, way to manifest. Go you.
Thank you. And like,
I have no doubt they're going to happen because of that email you sent. I was like, all these are happening because she literally just manifested them and they're all going to happen.
I mean, some of those are wild, but like, I mean, the basketball one is wild. Stay tuned, everybody. But I will say it's just a fun piece, I think, to be able to have this mix, and it's only going to bring attention to the Olympics because you have people there that have totally different audiences of people that may not watch the Olympics.
Yeah.
And so I'm excited for that aspect. And then finally, before we go into our memories, I'm excited for this incredible fashion show that we get to be a part of. It's called Parody. This is the first time, I believe, at the Olympics and Paralympics that there's an actual split of male and females competing. And that is freaking huge. That is freaking huge.
Let's go.
So it's incredible. We got connected with Angel Rodriguez. She is a legend herself. Carrie Walsh Jennings, shout out. And we get to walk in a fashion show. And
that's all about women empowerment.
All about women empowerment to show like you can be sexy, but you can have muscles. You can be strong. You can be confident. You can be independent. You can be beautiful. Like you can be all these things at once. And so I got so hyped talking to her the other day about it. And you get to pick your style, like where you feel the most beautiful and the most like yourself. And so obviously I'm trying to go in Chanel and striding in heels. So stay tuned for pictures on that.
You are going to look beautiful.
Very excited.
I'm so excited. That's such an amazing honor to be a part of that. That'll be taking place at the Coca-Cola House, which will be so fun. And in terms of the stuff that we're going to be doing for like Yahoo and content for you guys, if you're interested on where you might be seeing us pop around, I think Yahoo will probably be very similar to what we were doing at trials.
Yep.
A lot of recapping the actual swimming, the events that are going on, what's happening with the athletes. The restriction at the Olympics is obviously much more intense.
Yeah, much more
So
red tape.
trials, USA Swimming was incredible. They were able to really allow us to get a behind the scenes. We had media credentials, so we were able to get down, talk to some of the athletes, all of that. All of that is TBD with Paris. Like we will feel so fortunate if we get to see some of the athletes. We don't know what events we're going to. We don't know how much we'll be at swimming.
Yeah.
Like this is all just stuff that we've been like, we'd love to be there. We'd love to get a chance to see our friends compete and see all of this.
Check it.
Right. We'd love to do some more on deck vibe check, but we just don't know for right now. So you'll be seeing a lot of kind of recaps of just Katie and I going over the events. But I think, most times we're just going to be probably watching it on TV. Just like you
we're gonna be I mean, I do have I don't know. I have some confidence. We're manifesting it. I feel like potentially between everyone that we've partnered with, we'll get there.
Yeah, I hope so. I know I'm going to go to at least one final session for right now, and then I'm really hoping to be able to go to more. So, but it'll definitely look a little bit different than it did at trials. And then same with all of our other content. We're really hoping to give everyone kind of a behind the scenes look and feel about what's going on and what Paris is like, and really want you guys to feel like you're there with us. So we're going to do the best that we can with that. So I'm really excited about. What are you most looking forward to?
I think the thing I'm most looking forward to is actually being present at an Olympic Games. Like just act. I mean, it sounds crazy, but just genuinely looking around and knowing, like I'm not competing, but I know what it feels like. And so just being able to like just soak it all in when I had such tunnel vision while I was competing. So I just, being like, wow, I'm at the Olympics.
I know. I actually got to take a breath and look around and appreciate where you are and just be present.
What about you?
I'm so excited to share it with Hayes and Kate.
Yeah. That's so fun.
Like I know it's going to be so busy and exhausting and crazy and wild, but I'm just so excited to embrace it and be in Paris with the two loves of my life. Three, including you.
Oh, thanks. Glad I got thrown in. I was kind of like, all right, well, that's fine. I guess I'm chopped liver.
Also, I get to run around Paris with my best friend for 2 weeks.
A lot of latte and croissant content as well.
I mean, that's just a dead. If you're following us on our personal pages, it's just going to be. I mean, there's no way I'm going a day without eating a croissant.
No, we're going to be super annoying on our Instagrams. Deal with it.
Fair warning.
Just going to put it all out there,
I am. I think it's going to be amazing. And I can't wait just to see, I mean, already seeing all the training camp footage that's come back. I mean, seeing how fun Raleigh was, how fun Croatia was. Like, it's just been so cool to see the team bond, to see them so happy, to see them enjoying themselves so much. Like the charter plane they got from Raleigh to Croatia.
I know every other Olympian was so jealous. The snacks and that selection and like,
they're like lounging on couches. I'm like, okay, well, first off, you all deserve that. So like, yes, good for you guys.
Yes.
But also
I'm jealous. Let's be real. But yes, I mean, like we've talked about, that happens every generation. I'm sure in like 20 years, they're going to just be like, I don't know, like, what do you do?
They'll be teleporting.
Yes, thank you. Like they're going to be like, bloop, bloop. And then they
Is that the sound that you expect to make when you teleport?
Yeah. That's what I envision in my head. Bloop, bloop. Yeah, so they'll be jealous of the other Olympians.
Of the bloop, the blooping. That's gonna be a big one.
It's been a long day. I don't know.
Oh, but it's been so fun to see, and I think it's brought up a lot of memories for us too.
For sure.
And you know, you were 04 and 08. I was 12 and 16, and looking back, you know, we were both so young in our first Olympics. And it's kind of weird for me, to be honest, because I don't know if it's because I was so young or if I just have bad memory, but it's actually hard for me to recall a lot of, especially, well, honestly, kind of both London and Rio, but I think for different reasons. Like, I think London was just like such a whirlwind, and I was so young that like if I go back and really try and like call up certain things, like it's hard for me to like have those memories. And Rio, I think it was because it was just such a hard experience that I almost kind of blocked most of it out. But it's funny, the memories that really stick with you from the games. And so a couple that I wanted to share from London were, it's like the most insignificant moments that end up being like some of the most impactful. Like I remember in the village in London when we first got there, being so excited and just walking around, and they had this little area where you could make Powerade water bottles with your name on it.
Oh, that's sweet.
And I literally thought it was the coolest thing that's ever happened. Like I was like, I am getting a water bottle with my name on it. I think I have it in a bin somewhere. Weirdly enough, I have a picture of Katie's on, I think Katie and I went to go do it together because I have a picture.
That's so
Katie's
cute.
on my phone. But like for some, like I remember that and being like so excited about getting a water bottle with my name on it.
Yeah.
I remember walking into the pool for the first time because I was holding Dana Vollmer, and I had a tradition where whenever we were on a team together, we would always hold hands when we walked into the competition venue for the first time. And so I went in holding hands with Dana, and just like, I think that was actually a moment for me where I was really able to stay present of like, I looked around and was like, I am swimming at an Olympic Games right now. Like, and just actually being able to take it in. And the other one is a conversation that I had with Todd. And I just did a keynote a couple weeks ago with Coca-Cola, and I actually talked about this moment because it threw me so off guard. So I qualified in 2012 for 7 events. And so I was swimming 18 times in 8 days. And I qualified 100, 200 free, 100, 200 back, and then all 3 relays. Backstroke was definitely what I was better at. Freestyle, I looked at the results. I actually totally forgot. I got 4th in the 200 free by 1/100th of a second, but I got 5th in the 100 free by 2/10. I was like, I didn't remember being
What did you think that you?
I don't know, but I like forgot that I like swam that event. I don't.
So you really blocked things out.
I really, legit, like really blocked things out. But like, I think it was 2 days before the meet started, Todd was like, hey, why don't we, you know, go sit on a bench right outside the village, or it was in the village, but right outside the team house. and let's just talk. Like, let's talk about the next 8 days. And so we sat down, and he was like, okay, like, what are your goals here? And I'm still 17 at the time, right? So I'm like, like, I'm just so happy to be here. Like, I want to swim my races well, and I want to stick to my race strategy. And I think my way of protecting myself a little bit was not actually giving myself like exact performance goals, because I knew like if I could base my goals more on like an effort or a strategy, like it was going to be less disappointing if I didn't do that. And I think Todd knew that. And so he was like, okay, well, here's the goal that we have. And he wrote down 7 golds on a piece of paper. And I like, it just seized. Like, I was like, what? Like, I've never even thought about that. You and I have never talked about that. Like, and he looked at me and he was like, don't freak out, but like, does that scare you? And I was like, absolutely. Like, it terrifies me. And he was like, well, it shouldn't. Like, there's no reason why that should scare you, because it's doable. And he's like, that's not what I expect of you. That's not what anyone expects of you. But like, this shouldn't scare you because you are capable of doing it. And I wanted you to see that and know that. And so that for me was like just such a profound moment going into those games of, I think at that point, like I truly was like, oh my gosh, I am just so happy to be here. And like, but that was kind of like that moment for me where it's like, oh, I can do more than just be here.
Yep.
Like I think even though it's my first time, even though I'm 17, Todd believes in me in this way. I know my family believes in me. My coaches, my teammates believe in me in this way. Like, if I do what I'm capable of doing, like there's still so much more to come in these next 8 days. So I think that moment for me was amazing. So ironically, none of them had anything to do with
performance.
Actually,
the
actual swims themselves, which all have their own memories. But I think, as you and I have talked about so much, it's these like memories around the actual experience itself. Yeah,
for sure. Well, I think credit to Todd there too is like, I always say like, no one really thinks about the coaches. And so the coaches, if you watch, are all going through a crazy thing on their own, and like they, help each other and talk with each other. But like, he kind of straddled that in the perfect way, right? Because he didn't sit there and say like, no, here's what you have to do, or
it will be disappointing if this is not what happens.
Yes. It was just like, okay, just gonna like lob it out there. Like, that's possible. Not saying if it's like he got you in that frame of mind, but not too much where it was just like way over the line.
Exactly. It was like awesome. The perfect balance. So I totally agree. I think there was so much credit to him in that moment.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess I'll journey back 8 years. I'll start with 2004. So God, it's so crazy. I don't know why. I think I just have like a pretty good memory, like numbers, like stuff. I'm just like very dialed into that. I don't, just how I am. So I remember, for better or for worse, like everything from 2004.
Total opposite as per usual.
Yeah. And so, I mean, made the team, a month after my 15th birthday, and never been out of the country, never been away from my parents, just like such a green athlete. And 2004, as we've talked about, was really tough for me. There's the actual moments, there wasn't a lot of good things. And, I made my first final, which was huge because it set me up for understanding what it's like to swim in an Olympic final 4 years later. But I just was such a baby, so out of my league, just so out of everything. But I do have some like really impactful memories. One of them was actually during camp, which was with the guys. And so I was kind of like everyone's little sister, probably like everyone's annoying little sister sometimes. But the guys included me for one reason or the other. And so we were obsessed with Risk at the time. And so like, don't know why, it's like the nerdiest game ever. It's the longest game ever. But we had hours to kill. And so I got to play Risk with the guys on the team and never won. Just like, I was at a very aggressive roller. So they'd always get really mad at me because I would throw the dice and the dice would ricochet off the board, and
0% surprise.
Yeah, I mean, if you roll it hard enough, you get the number you want. And so it would just, but like I already felt so. There was definitely some a little bit of bullying and stuff like that. And so to have the guys like include me like that I just felt so just like seen and just included. And I was just like, oh my God, like they're including me in their game. I can't believe it. And so that was really special. And I will always remember some of the people that included me in that. And then I would say like a piece that like really good memory, I'm also like really proud of this is, so, you know, in the 400 IM, that was day one, really, really tough swim, super nervous. Like I said, out of my league with everything. And I didn't make the final. I gained 10 seconds. It was just horrific. 2 days later, I had to get up again and swim the 200 IM. And so I was kind of like moping around and like feeling sorry for myself. And I remember Gary Hall Jr. was over in the corner, and the whole camp I had kind of been like looking at Gary because he was an idol of mine. Like he literally wore a Superman cape. And he's like, come here. And I was like, literally did like me, like, and he's like, no, yeah, come here. And I was like, well, what does he want to say to me? And he's like, how are you doing? And I was like, not good. And he was like, all right. And he's like, I want to give you something. And he pulls out this little like toy army soldier. I still have it. And he was like, here. And in my mind, I'm like, I don't know how to react to this. Like, what the hell is this thing? Like, I was like, oh, thanks. And he's like, I want you to remember when you look down at this, that you are a soldier and you will keep going and you will be okay. And I remember it too. Like I was so grateful.
Do you think he just carried around a bag of those to give him?
I actually never asked that question. But I'm like, how do you just have this? Like you just opportune time. But it was such a lesson for me of Gary took the time. He's swimming. He won gold in the 50 that meet, but he took the time to talk to this little 15-year-old who really needed someone in that moment to just see her and build her up. Yeah. And I will never, I told him recently, I was like, I still have the green army man.
You still have it?
I still have it through like 12 moves. And it was just like, and I did get back up. Like I didn't win a medal at that meet, but I got 7th and I raced I actually won the semifinal. And like, there's like this smile that I have on NBC, but it was just like kind of a moment, two lessons of, okay, like I'm going to be okay. Okay, like I should do this for someone else at another time. Like what an impact you can make in just like he took 2 minutes and it just like changed the whole trajectory of my meet. And then also like I am tough and I can get back up and I can fight through things. And I always say like, I just got the really big fail out of the way really early on in life. Yeah. So it was just like, well, can't go worse than this. So I've just proved to myself that nothing can knock me down. And so that was kind of my moment of pride of 2004, is just proving to myself that I'm tough.
Well, I can definitely make a testament to the fact that you have become that person that is giving out those metaphorical toy soldiers. I don't think you're actually.
No, I don't have any.
Maybe you need something. Maybe you need your own little bag of something that, I feel like for you and I, it's just our little Words Project bracelets.
Yeah. I'm like, here. Yeah. No, I need something like, I can't come up with it right now. I'm not witty enough.
But I think that's how the cycle works, right? Like there's those few people that really make an impact on the ones that are coming up. And then those people understand what an impact that can make on you. And then they do the same thing. And eventually it just like really shifts the culture as a whole. Because I feel like, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but even from 2004, that the culture has probably changed.
Immensely.
A lot.
Immensely. A lot. Even from 2004 to 2008, I think it changed. But I also imagine it's, based on leadership, based on the people on the team. But I do think there are those token people that you look back and they're like, okay, they were difference makers and they really made this shift and looked. It's so, in anything, it's so hard to look outside of yourself when you're in a pressure cooker like the Olympic Games. And so I've always been so in awe of the people that, like Gary, to like take a second and be out of his bubble, right? And so it's a huge skill, and I think it takes a lot of maturity and perspective. But if you can do that for someone, it's a game changer.
Yeah, and not just in sport.
And not just in sports.
In life. The metaphors continue.
Yeah.
Well, on that same page, I mean, just rolling off of, going into Rio for me, it's similar in that there's not a ton of super happy memories from those 8 days. But I think what made the happy memories were the people that I was around for that trip. It was definitely a little bit different. I remember Zika was a huge issue. So we were supposed to go to international training camp and ended up not being able to. So both of our camps were domestic. So we were, I believe, in San Antonio. Someone might correct me on that.
Memory.
No, I'm dead serious. Like it's so bad. And then we were in Georgia.
Okay.
Yeah, for our second camp. Again, I think it was that order. I don't know.
The comments will
I know,
keep you honest.
I know. They'll let me know for sure. But I think that whole camp, I was just so distracted by the fact that I knew I wasn't going to go into the games and achieve what was expected of me, that it just took so much away from the moment. So I'm a massive reader. Reading is kind of like my way of escaping a little bit. So that was pretty much what I did for training camps. Like I had my Kindle, and I think over the course of those training camps, like 3.5 weeks, I think I read 12 books.
12 books?
Yeah. Like I would go to practice, I would go back to my room and I would read. And then I would take a nap, wake up, go to lunch, go back to the pool, come back, read. Like I was just like, I was just desperate for something to like distract me from what was coming. And like, that was the wild part too. It's like, I was swimming great. Like I was having great practices. But that's how it was the whole year leading up to it too, which is what made it all like so confusing for me, and trying to like deal with my shoulder injury on top of all of them, like just like pretending like it was fine and nothing was the matter.
Yeah.
But it's still like you have those moments that are so special. And even though it felt way more nerve-wracking and I felt the pressure so much more, like I think I still did the best that I could to like have those moments where I looked around and was like, okay, like you're still here, like you're still at a second Olympic Games. And also I think there was just a difference with London and Rio. Like I think Rio did the best they could, but there were just some infrastructure issues and some organizational issues. So it was definitely a little bit of a different experience as a whole for the athletes as well. But, just the moments truly that I remember the most from Rio are watching how well my teammates did. Like there were so many iconic moments of swimming from Rio, like getting to see Michael in his last race, getting to see Simone win the 100 free, getting to see Maya win the 200 back.
Yeah, you're right. Wow.
Like there was just like so Anthony in the 50 free. Like there was just so many amazing moments. Like that was Ryan Murphy's kind of like breakout meet. Like, gosh. So like, I just remember like as hard as it was for me to be performing so below what I was capable of doing and just having such a disappointing experience, it was so amazing to watch my teammates and what they were doing. And it's a lot of weird emotions to feel at the same time. Like you're so happy, you're so sad, you're honestly a little jealous. Like it's just like this whole weird concoction. But I remember feeling so grateful to have the opportunity to swim on the prelims relay of the 4x200 freestyle, and then watching them win that night and knowing that I was going to get another gold medal as a part of that relay as well. So many different emotions than how I won my medals in London. And I don't know if I'd have gone into it in length before on the podcast, but I think just, it holds so much meaning. Like when I have all my medals out and I look at the gold from Rio, I think for a while I struggled with this idea of like, I don't fully deserve this. And now ironically, I've gotten to a place of like, this is actually the medal that I deserve the most.
Okay.
When I look back and I just think about like all the opportunities I had to give up or to stop that I didn't take, that at the end of the day put me on my second Olympic team, that got me on a prelims relay of a relay that eventually won gold. Like there were so many more opportunities for me to walk away. There was none of that before London. Yeah. Right. Like it was just like this amazing trajectory of just up and up and up and up and up. But now when I look at that gold medal from Rio, it was like, there was so much more I had to overcome and embrace to get this, that it just holds a totally different sense of pride for me.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that. I know that's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah. You never told me that. So
Yeah. See?
yeah. Unfiltered, people. Unfiltered. All right, everyone. I kind of soft launched this at Olympic trials, but I am officially committing to competing or attempting to compete at the 2028 Olympic trials in the 100-meter breaststroke. I watched Olympians Matt Grievers and Gabby Rose compete at this past Olympic trials, and let me say, I got inspired. So how am I going to do this after years outside of consistently training in the pool? And the answer is simple. It's Endless Pools. Endless Pools provides a controllable environment, a controllable current, as well as a convenient location to work on my technique. Their exclusive HydroDrive technology powers one of the most advanced swim-in-place currents, so I'm confident that anyone, including myself, can work on their form and stroke consistently and effectively. This is the best part. Pretty excited. Endless Pools has rolled out special discounts for all of our Unfiltered Waters family. Visit endlesspools.com/unfiltered to unlock $1,000 off your own personal lap pool for literally anywhere in your home. Good luck.
Hey everyone, I just wanted to take a minute to thank one of our amazing sponsors, Little Words Project. As you guys know, LWP is a huge part of Unfiltered Waters. We ask all of our guests one of those same questions every episode. What is their word, their purpose, something they're working towards? And we actually get to gift them a Little Words Project bracelet with their word on it. It is so meaningful to us. We've gotten so much great feedback from them. And Katie and I have truly noticed a difference going through the ups and downs, the challenges and the success of life, always having your words right there on your wrist where you can look down for encouragement, for hope. And then of course, those extra special moments when you can take one of yours off and give it to someone else who you feel like needs it a little bit more than you do in that moment. These bracelets are so much more than just jewelry. They're power, they give meaning, they give purpose. And we are so thankful to LWP for allowing us to be a part of their journey on Unfiltered Waters.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I mean, I think, again, journeying back 8 years, 2008 was an interesting one for me. I mean, the buildup was crazy. And I think looking back, it just got announced that Kate Douglas is going to give up her spot to Gretchen Walsh for the individual 100 free. And I looked at that and immediately was like, wow, good on them. Like the perspective and maturity to be like, okay, I've got a couple events, but I don't need to swim them all.
Yeah.
I think people probably look at that and they're like, wait, why would you give up an individual event? It's like, well, when you have relays and you have multiple other swims, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of scrutiny of, swimming 5 individual events. I had the relay, but I mean, I look back and it was literally for the 400, you had to get blood tested every time because of EPO. And so I had 2 days. I swam 4 400s in 2 days with all the blood testing, then 6 200s in the next 2 days.
Can you explain to people EPO?
Yes. So EPO is basically a biomarker. I'm going to get roasted in the comments for this too. I'm not a scientist, people, but a biomarker in your blood. And so this happens a lot in cycling as well, but you can take something that increases that. So your, I want to say it's like your red blood cells is increased. So your endurance is that much better. And so Lance Armstrong did this.
So essentially you're getting blood tested extra to make sure that you are not doping.
Yeah. So the top 4 had to use, so just, again, that's another 3 hours. And there's just so many things that I don't think that people realize get added on to the Olympic Games versus the trials. And that's one of them. You have more press conferences, you have more walking to the village. Like there's so many things that, yes, at the trials, I won my 5 events and whatever. It was great. But like it didn't factor in all of the things that happen at the Olympic Games that do not happen at Olympic trials. Yeah. And so I think for me,
great point.
Yeah. And I, didn't realize it until I did it. But like, I think that was something I wish that it was like, cool. But after day 4, I've swum 4 400s and 6 200s and I'm exhausted.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And for our non-swimmers, like that is a stupid amount of swimming. Like I don't know how you did that.
Yeah, I look back and like even now being outside of it and watching the lineup, it's so much, and especially with the 400s. Well, especially for people who don't realize, Beijing was another factor where finals were in the morning and
because of the TV
schedule. And so that was a whole nother thing, like where we couldn't really sleep, but everyone was going lights out at night because everyone swims I feel like swims faster at night.
Yeah.
So then I couldn't pace anything. So I felt like I just sprinted 4 400s and 6 200s in 4 days. And all of this to say is like, none of this is an excuse. It was just one more than I thought it would be from an emotional and physical standpoint, and just bit off a little bit more than I could chew, I felt like. And I think obviously the comparisons to Michael, as you know, but they're just the Baltimore thing. There were so many like easy comparisons for the media to throw out there. So I remember coming out of my first Olympic medal ever in the 400 IM, going right on my best time and actually being like genuinely like, cool. Like that was a great swim for me. Like I've got more races. Like obviously like there's more opportunities for gold, but like I'm like pretty happy with this. Like there's a picture on my parents' wall of me on the podium looking up and smiling, and like it's a genuine smile. It's Todd's favorite picture of me from the games, and every single person through the mix zone was like, are you happy? What happened? You know, just like me. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, you know? And that kind of just set the tone for the meet, and just, again, like had some great swims. They weren't gold. And I feel like that was just the tip of the iceberg of finishing off and not kind of like you've talked about, kind of not feeling like you got where you, the crazy thing is though, like I do feel like I swam well. Yeah. That's the thing. It's just,
and that's what we were talking about, is what it's so hard, I think, to like verbalize this, but like you can go and achieve something amazing. Even making the team is an amazing achievement. Yes. But like if the expectations on you are not met, it's hard to celebrate what you did achieve because it is so overshadowed by what you were expected to do, versus if you go in there and you exceed the expectations. Correct. It's so much easier to celebrate those wins, whatever they look like, and be excited about them, versus like it was still an amazing games. Like you still accomplished so much, but I know there's so much there because the expectations on you were just so heavy.
So heavy. Yeah. And I think, but not to, that it's such a good point, and we talk about it all the time, but it is something that I now in my life, after I've taken on, of like the expectations versus what you want versus what other people want. It's like this swirling vortex of crazy. Yeah. But I think just on a sunnier side, I think the thing I'm most proud about, and the thing I look back on Beijing fondly, is just in 2004, I got shipped home the night swimming was done. Mm-hmm. And so I genuinely feel like I was able to have fun with my teammates, move out of the village, which we'll talk about why we move out of the village, go and see, I got to see Carrie Walsh-Jennings and Missy May Trainer in the pouring rain, win gold medal. Like it was sick. Amazing. All the parties was so fun. So there's so many fun memories on that aspect. And then on the proud side, just I got back up and faced a press conference that was really difficult. And I actually took a second. This is something like I got out of the water after my 800 and I didn't make the final. And they were like, they want you to do like full media zone, mixed zone, which for those of you who don't know is basically like this crazy maze. You feel like a mouse that like you go through. It's right. A great analogy. Right? You feel like a little mouse. Yes. And you're like, oh, and it's like every country, every media outlet, and you're going through. And so when you win, it's the best thing ever. It's like a victory lap. Yeah. You're like, I'll talk to you. When you do terrible, you're like, I don't talk to anyone. But I basically turned to our USA Swimming rep and I was like, can I come back in like 4 or 5 hours? Like I need to collect myself. And she was like, yes. And it was like the best thing I did for myself because I was like, owned it. It was like, I need time. Yeah. And then came back and faced the music and talked about everything. But I think for people who don't realize, like you really are getting pulled right after something really, really traumatic happens to you when it's bad. And then people are like, why would someone say that? Because their emotions are like jacked up to the highest degree. Like imagine something terrible happens to you. And then people are like, can we talk about it with you right now? Like you would say some messed up stuff too, you know? So I think just some grace with the athletes when you are like that. That's just a total side note. But I was really proud of the way I handled myself with the media.
I am too.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing all of that.
Thanks.
There's a lot.
There's a lot.
We need like
I know.
Part Olympic memory lane for us. But there's so many different points. And thank you again for sharing all of that with us. We're always so grateful for your honesty and your vulnerability. And I think you brought up some really kind of, again, fun behind the scenes stuff, which we're going to get into a little too with we love doing this with our trials episode. We're going to do some more hot takes.
Love it. Can we get like a graphic for that where it's like,
I know.
Boom, like hot take, like
you with the sound effects today. What is happening over there?
As soon as it came out, I was like, no.
You knew. I mean, you knew. All right. Katie's also now the sound effects of the podcast as well. Well, first thing I want to talk about, which I'm going to tell you to be cognizant of the fact that parents do watch this with their children. So there may be young ears. But I would love to have a hot takes discussion on, there's lots of rumors about what the Olympic Village is like.
Oh, you're just not going to go into them and make me say it? That's cool. Yes. So there are definitely, I feel like it's one of the first questions I get asked when people are like,
the time.
So is the Olympic Village really like they say it? And
yes.
you're like,
because what, did it come out in Rio? Was it Rio where it was like the big story about them providing, or was it London?
No, it was before. Oh, it was like, we
Before
were
that?
having media training when I was 14 years old. We got pulled in to a media training with USA Swimming on how to handle that question.
Really?
Yes.
I had no idea because I can't remember which Olympics it was, but it was when they like put the dispenser.
Some protection, we'll just say.
Protection dispenser.
Protection dispenser so that lots of babies aren't running around.
But like what a gene pool. But
also of gold, silver, and bronze. So I feel like, imagine some of the most most fit people in the world. They have had this massive buildup of pressure for 4 years.
Yeah.
And then everyone has lots of testosterone and hormones. And then imagine you're like, okay, now you're done and you're going to celebrate. And here's all the amount of alcohol that you could ever want, free everything. It's just a recipe for, depending on how you view it, disaster or fun. So that is the best way I can say it. I think it gets dramatized. If
I do too.
I think it gets it's not. I think for the U.S., we are very strict with our curfews and things like that. So
we have a lot of stuff in place.
A lot of stuff in place to protect, especially the younger ones. That's why I was shipped home when I was 15. That's why you didn't go out when you were 17.
Well, and it's also depending on your age too. Even as a 17-year-old in London, I was completely unaware of any of that. I didn't even know it was happening. I was just so protected and then when I went back for Rio, I was 21, so I was a little bit more aware of it. But even still, it's if you're not seeking that out as something that you want to do while you're there, you don't even.
I pretty much knew all about it at 15.
Okay, well, there you go.
I didn't. I'm
as naive as it gets.
I knew all about it. Even in the village, there was some, I will not name any names, but there was from a different country, there was an accusation that two people were having some fun on a balcony.
On a balcony?
Yeah. And then everyone was just Katie, as a joke. I was like, I didn't know. But there's some crazy stuff that happens.
Mortifying for you. You're
mortifying.
You can't even joke about that.
I was I've never even kissed anyone before. I don't know what you're talking about. It's just but I was very aware of these things that were happening. But at 15 and anyway, so the U.S., if you want to have a different curfew, you need to move out of the village. Yeah. You're on your own dime. You're on your own. You kind of sign yourself off of, I'm no longer, my federation's responsibility.
And that's what happens a lot of the time anyway, because we have to leave the village most of the times to make room for the second week athletes that are coming in. Yes. So Team USA has the same building. Not all sports stay in the village because some of the venues are not even in the country. So gymnastics, I don't believe, stays in the village. Basketball doesn't stay in the village, but they will normally come and visit, which is always a really cool experience. The whole basketball team, they did it in 08.
They did it in 08.
They did it in 12. I think they did it in 16.
Yeah.
So they'll come in and they'll come and they'll let the whole Team USA house know, like, the basketball team's here, and they'll like just stand out front, and they'll mingle and talk and take pictures and all that stuff, which is so cool. But like soccer is all over the place. So soccer, I don't think stays in the village.
I think surfing's in like Fiji or something.
So not all the athletes are staying in the village, which is something to note as well. But you do normally have to move out. And then if you want to stay for closing, you are on your own essentially for that second week. Like, you need to find a place to stay. You kind of get to explore the city on your own. But if you don't want to go to closing, you can normally just fly home after you're done competing. So it's totally up to the athletes whether or not they want to stay. The really interesting thing about, they just announced for LA in 28 is they're flipping it. I know. So swimming's going to be the second week. So I know we talked about that, but it'll be interesting to see now if swimmers will be able to do the opening ceremonies, since we're not normally able to do that because we start swimming the next day.
That is really cool. Yeah, I think, I mean, I would go. If you have a full week, I feel like I would go. But yeah, I mean, it is I feel like the beginning athletes don't get to go to opening, but then I feel like the athletes that are in the second week probably go to closing too.
Yes, I would imagine.
They kind of get the best of both worlds. So swimming gets the best of both worlds in 28.
Whoop, whoop.
Yeah. All right, moving. I feel like that was well answered.
Well answered.
Okay.
Yes, it is. Some of the rumors are true, but not to the extent necessarily.
Yeah. Yes. Great. Okay. All right. Hot take number 2: athlete access to other sports from a ticket perspective.
Yes. So I think there is a misconception that, like, as an Olympic athlete, you just get like free access to absolutely everything.
Which makes sense.
Which you would think. And granted, we don't know how things have changed. Obviously, Tokyo, this was not the case. So I don't know how Paris is planning on doing it. But in our experience with Katie and I, what happens for the athletes is there's like a lottery system. So if you want to go see other events, you can just like put your name in for, I want to go see beach volleyball. I want to go see gymnastics. And you put your name in a lottery, and you may get it, you may not. But it's really kind of just as hard, I think, for athletes to get tickets to other events as it is for just spectators that are there in my own history.
Yeah, I mean, I really feel like if you don't have, like, you know, say you have a shared sponsor or something, I feel like that's the only time I was like guaranteed something of another athlete that you're going to go watch. But yeah, the lottery, I will say that does kind of make sense though, because think of how many Olympians are there. If it was a free for all, and there'd be no place left for
spectators.
So I guess I'm being a little selfish there when I'm like, that's ridiculous. But yeah, the lottery makes sense.
Yes. And it's also not super easy for the athletes' friends and family to get tickets either.
I know.
Like each athlete is only allotted a certain amount. So recognizing that as well, it's an amazing sacrifice for the families of these athletes.
Oh my gosh.
Because, you know, sometimes they'll have sponsors that will help in and support, but a lot of times they're paying their own flights, they're paying for their own accommodations. And if they have extended family there or bigger families, sometimes they're paying for those extra tickets by themselves as well. So I know that, you know, for most families, that's it worth it. My parents were like, for London and Rio, they're like, we're all in, but it's a huge expense for families to take on to go do that. But
definitely.
It's an amazing thing to get to watch your child do that.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Hot take number 3 is we're talking about the houses throughout the city. Yes. So a little bit about what is going on. This isn't really a hot take. This is more like a behind the scenes.
This is like the more you know type of thing.
So a lot of the major sponsors of the Olympics will set up houses throughout the city of Paris. So like Katie and I have mentioned, we're going to be at the Team USA house. So there's different countries have different houses as well. So there'll be a Team Canada house, there'll be an Australia house, et cetera, et cetera. And then the major sponsors will all have their own houses. So all my favorite ones in London were the Lululemon house and the Beats house and the Omega house. Yeah, it was always so cool. The Coca-Cola house. And they're different. A lot of times you can purchase tickets to like go in to experience them, but it's normally just like they've got food, they've got massive TVs to do watch parties, they host events, they've got tons of product if it is a company that sells product. But it's like a really cool part of the Olympic experience is like getting to see and go to all these different brands' houses. And it's where a lot of the athletes will also go after they're done competing, because those houses will like host big events and celebrations for the athletes.
Yeah. They're just so fun. I love it. You can include your family. Like I know my family hung out at Omega House a bunch and just like it's food, there's TVs, it's just a great vibe. It's kind of like away from everything. Like I mean, you as an athlete want to get away from everything, but your parents are just like bombarded. It's tough. It's tough for the parents. Like shout out parents, because like commuting there and back, it's so much. So I feel like I almost view the houses as like a little oasis away from the crazy.
Agree.
Yeah.
They're really fun.
I forgot the last one.
Okay, so that's all we had for all of our hot takes and behind the scenes.
I love that you do this now. I rubbed off on you.
Is that what you do? Yeah, I feel like that's such a Katieism. Okay, so we've talked about what we're going to be doing in Paris, what we're most excited about, where you guys can check us out, where we're going to be, our Olympic experiences.
All the memories.
Walking through that, and then little behind the scenes action. So we're going to finish off like we did with a little on deck vibe check, Paris edition.
Yes.
A little this or that. All right, you just want to go back and forth?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Chocolate croissant or regular?
Ooh, chocolate. Latte or cappuccino?
Cappuccino.
What?
Yeah, cappuccino.
Okay.
Long walk or bike ride?
Bike ride.
Okay.
Beret or scarf?
Beret.
Ooh.
I think beret. Let's see. Shopping or shopping?
Shopping for you or shopping for Kate?
Oh, shopping for Kate is always the best.
Yeah.
No matter what. Baguette or brioche?
Brioche.
Oh, good one. I think I'm the same.
Are you?
Yeah.
Final 101. Wine or cheese?
Cheese.
Mine is wine.
I know.
I feel like it's coming out like I like wine like a lot on this. Like I just like it the normal amount.
I think it's just like the juxtaposition.
Yeah, I don't like I'm not like I just like a normal person, like one or two here and there. Like just let's just clear that up.
I will say that did make me think about the one other thing I want to talk about before we end. The shopping made me think of it that I think is so cool. I watched this whole video on the medals the other day.
Oh.
And it's really fascinating. So Louis Vuitton's parent company is the one that designed the medals. So first off, the boxes they come in are Louis Vuitton boxes.
Oh my God.
And they're being presented on like Louis Vuitton
platter.
trays with like the classic design. So I think that is so Parisian, but like so amazing. And then the medals itself, I love the history and like the thought process that goes in behind them. So that's why I want to share some of this. So the hexagon is in the middle. I didn't realize this, but like the hexagon is like the shape of France, because if you look at it on a map, it has somewhat of a hexagon shape to it. So that is why the shape in the middle is a hexagon. And that metal that is used for that shape is they all used original pieces of metal from the Eiffel Tower.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So I think that is so beautiful. And then they've got all these beautiful lines like intertwining and crossing. Kind of reminds me a little bit of London's medal. But then the front, which I thought was really cool. Again, this is just a video I watched. So if any of this is wrong, I'm really sorry. I'm like terrified of our comment trolls now. I'm like, I'm so sorry if I messed this up.
I understand.
But from what I have seen, and I can't remember what other medals have done this, on the front of the medal, it's still the same. It's the Greek goddess Nike in the Athens amphitheater, but they added the Eiffel Tower in the background as well.
Oh, that's so cool.
Which I thought was so cool. So I think the medals are going to be really, really special. And it just seems like so much thought and effort went into them. So just a little extra tidbit of something to look out for.
I love that. Well, and I thought like how epic if they made the actual strap like Louis Vuitton. That would be sick.
Amazing.
Yeah. But,
well, we have so much to look forward to.
Are you packed? Are you done?
I'm packed. I'm ready. You're not.
I'm like 60%.
We're good. We're on the same flights.
We are on the
So I'm
same
going to see you
flights.
tomorrow.
Yep.
And we're going to just do this thing.
Are we matching? Are we wearing like our matching like outfits or no?
Because you gave me the matching jumpsuit
Yeah.
for my birthday. Let's do it. I'm so on board.
Are you?
Yep.
I can't tell if you're like.
No, I'm so on board.
Okay, yes.
Like the little
All right.
emojis. That's going to be us.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I'm just, there's nothing else to say. I'm excited.
I know.
I hope everyone can follow along with us, and I hope we can provide just a great insight into our journey in Paris.
Yeah, we'll still be releasing episodes every Wednesday like we
Yes.
normally do. So even though we're in Paris, don't worry. We still have lots of content for you guys that's going to be coming out. But keep an eye out for us while we're out there, the really fun things we're going to be doing. And most of all, you guys, just enjoy these Olympics. Enjoy watching them. Enjoy cheering on our amazing athletes. And then, of course, we've got the Paralympics right after that. So we just have so much to look forward to over these next 4 weeks with both the Olympics and the Paralympics. And Katie and I just feel so honored to be on this journey and to get to bring you guys along with us. So with all that being said, happy Olympics.